Welcome back, everybody. This is the Yankee and the Brit, and today it's the pregame show. Are we excited? Because I know I'm excited for some shitty football. Yeah, that's right. We get the Commanders versus the Bears. Does it get much worse than that? I don't think so, but it is what it is, and we are still gonna watch because that's what we do. We watch football, shitty or not. We are Britless today, so I am just gonna take you through this week's games, break them down a little, give you my picks, and we'll just move on from there. It won't even be the longest show, but we're bringing you the Yankee and the Brit pregame because everybody's sick of all them other pregame shows. You know you want to tune into the best pregame show out there. All right, guys, let's start with tonight's game. It's going to be an awful, awful game, probably. As soon as I say that, it'll be one of the best games the NFL has ever seen. But it's the Commanders versus the Bears. The Bears are at home. Justin Fields is still an awful quarterback. The Bears, I don't know what they're doing. They're rebuilding. We've talked about this in previous podcasts before the beginning of the season. They signed 17 waiver guys, which means their whole team was shitty. It's a complete rebuild, and I'm not sold on the coaching staff. I thought Ryan Poles was going to be a good GM, so hopefully he'll get it together. But the Bears right now look awful, and so do the Commanders, which I hate that name. They should have stuck with the football team. But Carson Wentz is doing Carson Wentz shit all the time. But let's be real. Ron Rivera throwing him under the bus was fucking ridiculous because the Commanders have so many more problems than just Carson Wentz. Yeah, Carson Wentz is a problem at times, but you got a lot of bigger issues on that football team than Carson Wentz. And so for Ron Rivera to back up over him, I think Ron Rivera might lose the team over that kind of shit. He's definitely he's probably lost Carson Wentz. And oddly and sick to my stomach, I'm picking the Bears to win this game over little Carl Wentz and the Commanders, even though I still think that Justin Fields is garbage. He's slippery. He can get out of the pocket, that kind of thing. So I think he's going to cause them some problems, and I think it's going to be a big issue for the Commanders defense. So I think Fields will probably help the Bears win this one, but we'll see. And I will watch this game, and it'll probably be like watching paint drying. All right, let's move on to last week's games, though. Let's cover some of that because that Vikings-Bears game, man. Let's start there. That Vikings-Bears game had me in my feelings at time. They come out, the Vikings start on fire. The offense is clicking. They move down. They put up 21 points in the first half, and then they just didn't show up for the third quarter. They just didn't show up, and that shit can't happen. Don't get me wrong. I love the grit, the fight, the never quitting to fight in a game. So, because last year, these are the games they lost last year, the games they are winning this year. 3 of their 4 wins come down to Kirk Cousins driving them down the field to win the game. These are the games that the Vikings usually it was the defense, gave up a score for us to lose the game. Defense came up big against the Bears and Justin Fields. Shout out to Cameron, Tiny Dantzler. That dude with the strip never gave up on the play, hit the ground, jump back up, chase down Marset, rip the ball out of his hands. That was huge for the Vikings. I love the grit. I love the way they're fighting back. I love that kind of thing. But, man, and I'll always take an ugly win over a pretty loss, but can we win a game pretty at some point so I don't have to have, heart failure during the game? I don't know. All right, let's talk some Packers in London. I'm still not sold on the Giants. I still think the Packers were the better team, and they just gave it away. I don't know what was going on. Some of the play calling I had issues with. Rodgers is missing receivers, with overthrows and things that I haven't seen Rodgers do before. I don't know if it's just no chemistry with these wide receivers or Father Time's catching up. I'm a Rodgers defender, but I just wonder sometimes, is that what's going on with Rodgers and the Packers? They don't look like the Packers to me. They don't look like the Packers we remember. from the last few seasons. Rodgers doesn't look like the MVP again this year. And it's really looking like that door is wide open for Minnesota to snatch this division. All right, with the Giants, great running game. They're out scheming, out play calling, out that kind of stuff, the other team. It's not that their quarterback play is outplaying the other team. Their defense has been playing pretty well. But Saquon Barkley is the bright shining star on that offense. Danny Dimes might as well be Saquon's backup running back because that's all he pretty much does is take off with the ball. He's not going through his reads. He's not hitting his third or fourth read in a play, and that's why the play breaks down. Don't get me wrong, their offensive line is awful, but we've watched Danny Dimes not progress in his NFL career to reading defenses, and that's a big problem for New York. I think New York has a fraudulent 4-1 record, and I think at some point they will be exposed. Let's talk about some Raiders Chiefs, guys. Yeah, there was some bad reffing in this game. There was some bad play calling in this game. And there was some bad actions that now are going to lead to legal recourse in this game. So first of all, I'm just going to start with the not taking the fucking extra point with over 2.5 minutes left in the game. I think it was 2:49, but I could be off. Kick the fucking extra point. Kick the extra point. Like, I don't understand why you just don't kick the extra point and tie up that game, make them go down the field. And sure, maybe Mahomes gets them into field goal range, but maybe they missed the field goal. You never know what's going to happen. But even if you go for 2 and make it, Mahomes still has that same opportunity to drive down the field. I don't get why you just don't take the extra point right there. And people can say it's analytics. That's dumb fucking analytics. Put the pressure back on the other team. And then what was Chris Jones supposed to do in that game? That's what I want to know on that sack on Derek Carr. Was that the first half? I think it was the first half. He takes him to the ground. He takes the ball out of his hands, then falls on him. One, that is not roughing the passer. That is called tackling the fucking quarterback. So this roughing the passer shit's getting out of control. We saw it in the Bills game a couple weeks ago with the Ravens. We saw it again with Tom Brady. This shit is getting out of hand. It's almost like the year when Clay Matthews picked up Kirk Cousins and set him down super nicely, and they still threw a flag. Like, I don't know how much nicer you can tackle a quarterback. But even if, let's just for the sake of argument say that was a roughing the passer, which everybody with fucking eyes knows it wasn't. He stripped the ball before the roughing the passer happened and had possession, so therefore it should have been Chiefs ball with a 15-yard personal foul after the turnover. But no, they fucked that thing completely up. So that was it was a really good fucking game. I enjoyed watching it. I think the Raiders have a lot going for them in the future. I think that was some bad play calling on Josh McDaniels, which I don't think you'll see a ton with Josh McDaniels. He's a good play caller. We've all watched him for years. But I also want to talk to you guys about the Falcons-Buccaneers game. So in the NFL, momentum is almost everything. And the Falcons had all the momentum in that game. They just scored. They were stopping the Buccaneers. And then there's the horse shit call on roughing the passer on Tom Brady. And I know everybody's like, oh, yeah, that's Brady. They're protecting Brady. No, it's happening all over the league with Josh Allen. I mean, we just talked about it with Derek Carr. Like, it's happening. These ridiculous calls are happening. It's not just Brady. And I get it. Brady came out and said, I don't throw the flags, but I don't think it was a penalty. The problem with this is it cost the Falcons the game. And yes, they were trailing, but momentum is everything. They had just scored. They just did a huge stop on Tom Brady. If you watch the way that the 3 technique comes around the D end and cuts in, like close cuts in, and takes out Tom Brady, it was a thing of beauty. And he couldn't have tackled him any nicer. So if I'm the Falcons, I'm losing my fucking mind at this point because we just scored, we stopped Tom Brady, and now we get the ball back with a chance to go win this game, which momentum to me says they had a good chance, even though that's a great defense over there with Todd Bowles and the boys. They had a really good chance of winning that game, and the refs cost them that game. I don't know what they need to do a lot. They need to fix that because they have to clarify that rule. It's the only rule in the NFL rule book that says if you're unsure, throw the flag. Think about that. If you're unsure, throw the flag. Shouldn't we really be on the side of discretion more than that? So where if you're not sure, you don't throw the flag? I don't know. I don't understand that, how that's in there. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Let's talk a little bit about the Dolphins and the Jets because there's a lot of things going on with the Jets. Teddy's not playing because he fucking got tackled. Like his head never bounced off the ground. They're saying he stumbled. There's not a single video out there of him stumbling. If it comes out and I am wrong, I'll be the first to admit it. But they're not going to let Teddy play against the Vikings either. But that's all because of what happened to Tua. Again, this is a thing about get it right. It's not Teddy's fault that you guys missed that on Tua. And if I'm Teddy, I'm pissed off because I don't get a chance to get out there and play. And as a backup, you don't know how many more times you're going to get to play, and you want to be able to show the world that maybe you can be a starter somewhere else. And I mean, as a Vikings fan, don't get me wrong, I'd rather play their third string quarterback going into next week. And it really hurt the Dolphins. They got routed by the Jets. And don't get me wrong, the Jets are looking a lot better, and they're building. I'm a big fan of Rob Saleh. I think at some point he'll get it around. I hope Woody Johnson gives him like 5 years to get this together because that's really what it's going to take. But I really like what the Jets are doing. I really like the fight the Jets have in them. They're not going to like be any Super Bowl contender in the next couple of years, maybe fighting for a playoff spot in the next 2-3 years, but that's what you're going for. And what usually happens in a rebuild like this, and it's sad to say, because Rob Saleh is probably not going to get to enjoy reap any of the rewards of what he built. Because what happens is the guy who rebuilds it gets fired, the next guy comes in and reaps all the rewards of the guy who rebuilt it. All right. I don't even know what to say about the Steelers-Bills game, except that thing was awful. It got out of hand, and at some point, CBS just needed to switch it to another game, and they waited till late in the fourth quarter, so they were killing me with that. Seahawks, Saints, it was a pretty good game, actually. Taysom Hill balled the fuck out, not only throwing and running, blocking. Taysom Hill balled the fuck out, and poor Rashad Penny out for the season. T's and P's to Rashad Penny. Seahawks are a little bit better than I thought they were going to be, but I never thought they were going to be good this year, and they're not really that good. So I give them a little credit for being better than I thought they were going to be, but they're still bad. Saints looked good. Saints played a tough game. I really enjoyed that game. The Eagles hold on to stay undefeated. The only undefeated team left in the NFL. And I know Eagles fans are flying high right now, so I can't say it for you, the whole fly. Yeah, I can't do it because the Vikings, the NFC Championship game. I'm still in my feelings. Fuck the Eagles. The Cowboys versus the Rams. The Cowboys just routed the Rams. The game wasn't even as close as the score. The Rams are not looking good. Cooper Kupp's the only one on the team that can seem to get open. The Cowboys defense is for fucking real. Micah Parsons injured is still a fucking monster. He was out there with a groin injury. Yeah, a groin injury. Out there tearing shit up on passing downs. Still super impressed with the Cowboys defense. I don't know what's going on with the Rams. They got to get it together. They got to figure it out, or they're just going to have that Super Bowl slump. And if they limp in, they'll limp into the playoffs at 10-7, 9-8, and get bounced right away. 49ers looking good with Jimmy G. They just put an ass beating on the Panthers. Matt Rule's out. Matt Rule on Wisconsin, baby. You want to be a Badger. All right, Matt Rule's out in Carolina. Jimmy G had that offense moving. That defense is fucking nasty for the 49ers. And I know Jimmy G's not the most accurate quarterback, but Odell, if you're not going to come to Minnesota, I'd rather see you go to an AFC team, but you on the 49ers being another weapon would be fucking huge. We're going to find out in the next 3 weeks, I bet. And I bet Odell doesn't play for the next 5 to 7 weeks, but we're going to find out in the next 3 weeks. My guess is where he's going to end up. And I don't think, I know he's already upset that the Rams tried to lowball him, so we'll see what happens because that's what the Packers did to him last year. And then let's move on to the final game I want to talk to you guys about before I get the fuck out of here on a short pre-game show. But I wanted to come to you. Something came up. Maddie couldn't be here, so it won't be the normal show. But I didn't want to have us start this pre-game show and not stay up on it. I wanted to be on here. So what I'll tell you is, man, it's almost unfair to have Justin Tucker. Like, it's almost unfair. It's almost unfair. Seriously. Lamar gets the ball back, gets you in range, and it's just like, yeah, it is over because this dude does not miss. Lamar's playing out of his mind this year. That game, not a lot of points scored. I get that. Lamar's playing out of his mind this year. There's something wrong in Cincinnati. They do not look the same. Somehow that offensive line got fucking worse. But it is what it is. I thought they were going to get Joe Burrow killed last year. Maybe they're just going to wait a year to get Joe Burrow killed and wait and get him killed this year. Also, before I get out of here, yeah, I called the Texans over the Jags, so I want that to be known. Go Texans. Davis Mills playing well. Big fan of what he's doing. Oh, and I cannot forget the shit stomping the New England Patriots gave to the Lions. So much for that number one offense the Lions fans have been bragging about. They came back to earth. Jared Goff became Jared Goff again. And the Patriots put a 29-0 ass whipping on the Lions. Let's see. Jared Goff, 19 of 35, 229 yards, 1 interception. Not good. Zappy, 17 of 21, 188, a touchdown and an interception for a first start for a rookie quarterback. Bill Belichick's going to protect him. They're going to do the right thing with him, and they're going to bring this kid along. I don't know what's going to go on with Mac Jones. I do not know how long he's out, but I do know until Mac Jones comes back, Bailey Zappi is the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots. And speaking of starting quarterbacks, just to get on Maddie's nerves, Cooper Rush bringing up the quarterback controversy that I don't know why it's a controversy, but just to get under Maddie's skin, taking over the franchise quarterback spot for Dak Prescott. I hope so. I know Cowboys fans don't. All right, just to get under Maddie's skin, Cooper. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy this game. I hope it's better than I think it's going to be. I think it's just going to be a dog shit game, but only one way to find out. I'm going to watch. All right, guys, thanks for watching. One world, one love.